Welcome back to a Canaries Walk. It's game week 3, and we have got the visit of Sheffield United to look at this week. We're reviewing all things Delia Smith, we're reviewing all things Blackburn Rovers, and we're looking ahead to hopefully the first 3 points of the new season. Welcome to our Canaries Walk. Welcome back, Liam, Matty, Oliver, and Owen to our Canaries Walk. We're looking a bit more chipper than we were this time last week. We're going to obviously talk to you all about Norwich 2, Blackburn 2, but our main focus is looking ahead to the game against the Blades back at Carrow Road this weekend. Liam, let's start with you. Was that a much improved performance for you against Blackburn?
There were signs of improvement, but you can see obviously there's still a lot to work on, and obviously we know that's going to take time. It's a process now, isn't it? But I would say there's definitely signs of improvement, and I think there's things to look forward to towards sort of coming to the next season ahead.
Okay, Matty, who impressed for you?
Saints looked sharp yesterday. I thought Cordoba looked all right when he came on, and it was nice to see Sargent score. He's had a little bit of a bad run with picking up injuries and whatnot over the last 12 months. So to see him score so early in the season is probably a relief for him, and it's a bit of a relief for the fans. So yeah, those three would be my pick.
He could have had 4 or 5, couldn't he, Matty, in the first half?
He should have had 4 or 5. Yeah. At one point I thought it was just going to be one of those days, but thankfully, I know we didn't get 3 points, but to be being 1-0 down at half time, you do sort of sit there and think, oh, not again. But no, it was much improved from the Oxford game.
Okay. Owen, defensively though, again we have to ask some questions. And last week it was Hanley. This week it's Shane Duffy who's been getting all the stick. Is that fair?
Is it fair that he gets stick? Yes, he is woeful. But with Brad Hills playing midweek, we couldn't really have him play again so soon. But it's only a matter of time before we start to see Hills integrated into the starting 11.
Who do you blame for the goals, Owen?
Second one, Duffy. First one, sort of the whole defence was nowhere to be seen, really.
What? It's a tricky question to ask there. But where do you put the blame in terms of coaching that first goal? So I watched it back, and Norwich looked half asleep they looked fully asleep last week. But again, in certain phases of play, it does look like at times you're sleepwalking in periods of games. Is this I don't want to use the word motivation issue already, second game, because it shouldn't be. But how can you explain some of these lapses in concentration already in so early in the season?
I think motivation issue can be used here because it's sort of the older players in the core that aren't able to sort of focus fully on the new system that we're working for.
Okay, Oliver, do you subscribe to that? Are you surprised that you're seeing so much defensive lapses this early on? Surely we should be fresh and alert. 90 minutes, can't we?
I think we should be. For the first goal, it was just Shane Duffy just backing off. I think we need a bit more aggression, to be honest, in those situations. But we've got lots of new faces in the team, and I think that probably does contribute to that. And I think I still believe that as season goes on, we will just become more solid, and it will hopefully all come good.
Okay, Liam, we were all worried after the Oxford game and think it was going to be a long, hard season. Have you got your optimism back after that, thinking that actually, this is going to be a season of mid-table obscurity?
I wouldn't say I've got all of sort of hope in that back, because obviously, like I said in the sort of first point, there is so much to improve on. Defensively, we look woeful. There's such a lack of sort of aggression and I'd say actually passion is a worry as well. Attacking wise, we look sort of fine. We do obviously need to bring some additions in, and if we don't do that, we will be looking at sort of a very poor season, I think, for our standards. But we bring in sort of the right players and the recruitment is right. I think we can still sort of push on and have quite a good season.
Right. Matty, what have we learnt about your manager from this game, first home game?
I think, well, if I can kind of say so, I kind of feel like it looked like the players had learned. So I know you've asked about the manager, but actually I'm kind of going to turn it around and sort of say that it looked like the players had started to implement what he wants from them a little bit better. We did look a bit better in transition. There's one thing I noticed a lot more yesterday than against Oxford, and I'm not writing off the win against Stevenage by any means, but obviously it was quite a different team that would play that game than would play most league games. But certainly yesterday we seemed more progressive when we get the ball instead of the ball going side to side like we've seen it do a lot in the last sort of 12 to 18 months without any real purpose. I feel like we when we get on the ball or when we got on the ball yesterday, it was always about making a forward pass, and it wasn't always a lot of the time it was intricate. But there was a couple of times where we pinged the ball over the top and used Sargent's pace, and it was nice to sort of see us try and get on the front foot. So that's I know I've mentioned about the players there, but obviously that comes from the manager. So hopefully it looks like he's slowly, and it will take time, I appreciate, but starting to implement what he wants in terms of a style of play, and the players are learning that.
Okay, let's have a look then at your next opponents. We'll come back and have a chat about the changes up the top in the second, and also talk about the transfer, of course, to Celtic. Here is a Blades fan. Welcome, Nat, to Canaries Walk. Appreciate you coming along for this one. This is Sheffield United's toughest test yet, isn't it? Away at Norwich.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I'm not massively clued up on what Norwich have done at transfer window, but going away to Carrow Road, it's always going to be one of the toughest fixtures in the league. So yeah, expecting a really difficult game, really tight game.
How's Wilder been setting you up? Just for the Norwich fans watching this, what can they expect to see?
Well, if you lot are like me and you haven't kept up with the United business, you're probably expecting us to be playing a 5 at the back, but he's actually changed shape, so we're playing a 4-2-3-1 now, which I think is what I'm assuming that's what Norwich still play. So yeah, playing in a different way. As I was saying earlier, you're probably playing at a good time because we are still in transition. I mean, I don't think any team in the Football League have made as many, sort of changed the squad around as much. I think we've got 10 really important players in. A lot have gone out, so it's been a massive overhaul this summer. And I think probably as we saw against QPR, things are still coming together. So it is a good time to play in us. But just listening to you lot, it sounds like you're probably thinking the same, and that you've changed things up. And obviously, I know you've got a new manager. So yeah, I suppose it's going to be hard to call, but yeah, I think it'll be tight.
Okay, Owen, do you put Sheffield United up in the top 6 at the end of the season, or do you think they're going to peter out?
I think based on their signings, they have to be up there, maybe even competing for the top 2. But they've been really impressive in the transfer window.
Yeah, and Oliver, how do you see this game going? Has he got to make some changes from the starting 11 against Blackburn?
I would say take Duffy out, but then you look at Kiefer Moore, and he's a big guy, he's big aerial presence, and maybe that'd be too much for Brad Hills, to be honest. But look, I think even starting Cannon Fisher at right back, maybe just going a little bit more bold, like especially in defence. I think that could really be quite good for us, actually, especially against the team, who are transitioning like us. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, let's get some score predictions. And Liam, you can have this one.
I'll go 2-1 Norwich.
Okay, Nat.
Well, I was put on the spot earlier and I said 2-2, so I suppose I'm going to stick with that now. Yeah, I think it'll be a draw.
Okay. All right, I think this is my game of the weekend, this one, Norwich and Sheffield United, in terms of I have no idea who's going to win it. I just cannot call it. But yeah, it should be an interesting one. Cheers so much for coming on, Nat. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the season. Thank you. And for the rest of you, let's rate some takes. You can all predictably think how it's going to go, but we'll go through them anyway. Matty, how hard is it to start a defence of Doyle, Cordoba, Hills, and Fisher? Agree with that?
Eventually, I'll agree with it. Well, Fisher, don't know. Duffy. Stacey didn't have a brilliant game yesterday, did he? But Fisher's is still young. I like Fisher, but I think my back four would be Krizeni, Doyle, Cordoba, and Stacey or Fisher. So and again on that one, like not to go too personal on Josh who's written this, but there was no way Cordoba could have started yesterday. He's still, he's been out injured. He's not up to speed. Like he got some minutes yesterday, but it was never going to happen. So I don't see how that's possible on game day. Well, league game 2 by any stretch.
Owen Evans says if we could defend crosses, the world would be a much better place. And if you look at the statistics, the apart from Hanley's mistake, all the other goals you've conceded have been from wide positions where the ball has been whipped in. So clearly, this is something to work on in training. Would you agree with this?
Yeah, we were warned from Brighton fans that their set piece coach wasn't the best. We've got him anyway. We've got to deal with it. We're learning that he's not the best, and we've seen it against even Stevenage, just getting dominated on the corners. Something needs to change there, though.
Okay, and of course the theme of this one, Oliver, Duffy shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how we can be playing Shane Duffy and Grant Hanley like now, especially transitioning. It's just,
Okay.
Bonkers.
On that theme, then let's talk about central defence. I daren't talk about central defenders with you, but let's have a go and have a look at it anyway. So I'll get the right one up. Okay, let's have a look at central defenders then. Liam, on paper, you've got the second largest amount of central defenders in the league after Burnley. You don't need any more, certainly, do you?
It's difficult to say at this point. I wouldn't say we do, because I do like Brad Hills, and obviously you'd hope that Cordoba, after spending all that money on him, will be good enough. But it's difficult again because you don't know where Doyle's going to play. You don't know where Doyle's going to fit in with the manager's plan if he wants to play him as a left back or a centre back. It's difficult to say big time because we lack. If you take Duffy and if you take Hanley out of the team, you lack experience. And for a championship team, experience is key, I think. So I just don't know where to go with us in centre backs at the moment, honestly.
Okay. Matty, do you expect in 2 months' time when we're talking that Doyle and Cordoba will be the two regulars?
I think so. I'd like to be a bit more positive and upbeat about our I know, appreciate the word transition keeps being mentioned, and that's what it is. But I think once players are a little bit more comfortable on the ball and are a little bit more used to playing with each other, have had that tactical training from the manager on the training pitch that we don't see, I think we'll get there eventually and be a bit more solid. And you've obviously got Hills who's breaking through, and maybe a couple of the younger lads might be sent out on loan for a bit of actual football experience. But in terms of a starting centre back pairing, I'd be quite happy with Doyle and Cordoba. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This week, also the biggest news, Owen, was of course that you got a change of share positions at the top. Delia stepping down as director, Michael Wynne-Jones, of course, as well, and you have Norfolk FB Holdings now owning 85. I think I'm close to 85%. We'll do a proper tribute, I think, another time to Delia. But is this good news for Norwich fans?
I think it should be good news. Whether we'll be saying that in a couple of years' time, I'm not sure. But at the current stage, I think, good news. We've got a bit of money in the club now.
Yeah, I think they've still got something like 10%, haven't they, Oliver? But do you see this as a step forward in the right direction? I mean, there was lots of fans crying out for this a couple of years ago, but it seems like
this is definitely this is definitely a step in the right direction. I think we've been needing this for a while. That Delia and Michael Wynne-Jones have been excellent for the club. but I think this is needed now, especially like as I keep on saying, that this is a new process. This is a transition, and just having a bit of freshness there, I think it'll be good for us.
Okay, Liam, Matty, any other thoughts? We want to thank Delia for her and Michael for their time.
Yeah, you can't not. I don't think. Liam shaking his head.
No. I just think that they've done such a good job, and you sort of look at owners and you think that you look at Prem owners nowadays. Everyone's sort of the clubs are sort of being left in the shadow, sort of thing. I mean, Delia was a fan for a long time, and she deserves every sort of applaud she gets. I just think the actual whole sort of idea of it just worries me, with everything being so new, that maybe the football won't look as pretty. But if you can say that in a year's time and guarantee that it will be sort of perfect, then you're happy. But it's just sort of all new, isn't it?
Okay. All right then. A couple of other little bits to catch up on then. Adam Ida has gone to Celtic finally. Let's put an end to the longest drawn out transfer of all time. Matty, you can only be pleased, I would imagine, to see that one finally not to be discussed in the terraces.
Yeah, what a saga, eh? I never rated Ida as a player massively. Like he scored a few late winners for us last season, especially. But yeah, he just lacked that footballing intelligence. He had all the physical attributes. He was quick, he was strong, and it just didn't look like a top level footballer. So how we've got what eventually I think will be $9.5 million for him, I honestly don't know. So fair play to whoever's negotiated that. When you think that Celtic came with an offer, I think around sort of 4.5, 5 million originally. How we've managed to get more than, or at least double what they were kind of originally wanting to pay is quite remarkable. So yeah, glad that's cleared up. Glad we've got that money from the deal as well, and it's a really positive bit of business, I think.
Okay. All right, and we'll talk transfers next week, because we've only got 11 or so days as this time of recording before that window shuts, and Norwich need to sign a few more. More on that next week, though. Let's go finally then into added time, and I want you to get your thoughts on who are the best central defenders for Norwich of all time. Comment below. Okay, also the Premier League is back, so let's get your Premier League predictions. Liam, Owen, you can start us off on this one. Who's going to win the Premier League?
It's difficult not to say City.
Fair enough, it'd be boring. Oliver, who's going down?
I'd like to think Ipswich, Nottingham Forest, and Southampton.
It didn't take long to think of that one, did it? Fair enough then. Liam, if Norwich were promoted this season, which two of the teams would you like to take with you?
That's tough. I'm going to say just Burnley and Sheffield United, because I think their squad's at Prem level.
Okay, fair enough. I like you thinking. And Matty, you get the more difficult one here then. So, of all time central defenders has been our theme this week. Then, who are the best two central defenders? I think you've seen all that you've heard for Norwich City.
You can't do that to me. I was gonna go over really left field one and go Gary Doherty, but just for the banter. That's not my actual serious answer, even though I was a legend. The Ginger Pele. Malcolm McCart's got to be up there. Craig Fleming's got to be up there. I'm going back quite a while, and I appreciate that, but it's difficult to look past one of them two being at least considered. And I am going back a while, I appreciate, but that goes to show the state of our sort of current defensive, the last 5 to 10 years defensive, that I wouldn't really consider. Tim Closer was good for us and Zimmerman was good for us, but they've never kind of reached that level. So yeah, let's hope Cordoba is considered and talked about in the same way as Fleming and Mackay in 10, 20 years' time.
All right, then. If you're a Norwich fan and you can come up with a better centre-back pairing than any of these guys have discussed, please do comment below. Listen, guys, enjoy the next home game against Sheffield United, and we will catch you all next week. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. This is the quickest and fastest, most concise Norwich review there is on the internet, and we appreciate you being along with the journey with us. Thank you very much, fellas. We'll see you next week.